Hello, love bugs. This week for my house tour, I decided to make a kind of a plushie shrine to all of the plushie hunting and stuff that I've done. And since I decided to make that, I thought it would be fun to leave all my bugs outside, flying through flowers, and floated a bunch of them all around. Now, since I have done this, I've had several people ask me how I pulled it off and how I was able to make all the bugs fly in all these different ways. And while I think the method is actually pretty simple, and a lot of you have probably used it for different things, I thought it would be nice to make a very easy and fully comprehensive way to understand how to float these bugs and also other items that you can use all around to make your plots look amazing. Like you could use this to float candles, you could use it to float starstones. There's so many things that you could do with this concept. So I want to give you an entirely full from start to finish how to do this so that you fully understand it. And I would also like to ask if you would like to come and view my plot and do it in person. My in-game name is Ravinia, and yeah, come check out my bugs. Anyway, let's do this thing. And I'm sorry, I do have to start this off by saying that I am so sorry. This is unfortunately a trick that only works for PC players. This only works on PC. You do have to have the hotbar that I have in my bottom right-hand corner in order to be able to do this trick, and Switch players will not be able to do it at this time. So I'm so sorry, Switch players. Now let's start at the very beginning. And the very beginning is actually in your settings. So you're going to hit escape and go into your settings. From your settings, you're going to go over to your control settings and into key binding. You're going to scroll down in key binding until you get all the way down to placement manipulation. Now, most players are only going to have confirm move listed as your left mouse button. You will need to assign an additional key under key 2 to be what I'm going to call in this video your secondary placement button. So this is a secondary placement button that you are going to use to place items. I decided to use T. You can use whatever is best for you. Once you have set your secondary placement item, you are going to need at minimum 1 wall. I always place 2 just in case I decide to do something a little different. You are going to need a piece of a shelf. I like to use the industrial shelf. This is just the shelf I like to use. And then you're going to need some blocks. Now, before specifically my bug floating trick, which is specifically what I'm showing you today, obviously this would change depending on what you're floating and how high you want it to be and what you're trying to do. I have placed 3 different blocks because I want to have the bugs at multiple different heights. I don't want every single bug to be really low. I don't want every single bug to be really high. I wanted it to feel organic. So I put 3 different blocks so that I could create different heights for my bugs. So the way that I am going to do this is very, very simple, but I do understand why it could be confusing for some people. So we're going to do a really simple one to start. Alrighty, now let's do this thing. And I highly recommend that you actually do this with me. So first we're going to enter our actual grid mode for placing items. In my number 2 slot, I have my paver. So I'm going to press 2 to bring out my paver, and I'm going to place it directly on the shelf just like normal using my mouse key. It's placed, good to go. Now I want you to take a look down at what's in my number 3 and number 4 spots because that's important. I'm going to press 2 again to get rid of my paver selection. I'm going to pick up my wood slab paver. I'm going to move it. I'm not going to press G. I'm going to press my left mouse button to pick it up again. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this guy over to whatever height I'm looking to make my current bug. Let's say I'm going to make it this height. So I'm going to place my paver here, but hold on. I'm not actually going to click anything to place it down. I'm going to just put it in the spot that I want it, and I am not clicking anything here. The next button I am going to click is going to be 3 because that's where my plushie is. So I'm going to click 3, which brings out my plushie. And now I'm going to drag my plushie wherever I want it to be that is on top of my paver, which on this level is a little bit tricky. But as long as it's on the paver, you're good to go. Now, if you look at the bottom right-hand side of my screen, you can see that there is the option of T to place now because that is my secondary placement button. That is what I'm going to hit. So I'm going to hit T, which is going to place my bug. Now you're going to look at it and go, but wait, Ravi, the bug's not floating. Well, it will. So just give me a sec. I'm going to go ahead and grab the paver and then place it wherever I want, or for the sake of this video, I'm going to place it over here so you can see the differences. And once I set it down, it's going to move the bug to exactly wherever it was distance-wise from the paver being here to where the bug was moved and placed up on the cement block, the builder's block, small stone crate block, whatever these are called. So you can actually truly measure out and create lots of different places. So you could really make paths and things like I did by measuring out where your stones are placed and have multiple rows of multiple heights of these different stones, so that you could really put them at all different kinds of heights. Now, what I did was then just pick up the bug, go over to my path, find a spot for it to be, probably getting out of grid mode in most situations, find a place I want the bug to float, put it down, and now I have a floating bug. But I'm going to keep this bug over here as an example because we're going to do it again. And we're going to do it a little differently this time. So now look down at my taskbar and you can see that number 4 is where my other bug is. Now, not all of your bugs you want just floating straight up and down because it's kind of boring, right? You want some fun little guys going at angles. Look at this little guy. This is Barry the bee. Barry is very, very happy and he is living his best life up there. He's got his little smiley face. Well, I was able to turn him sideways with this shelf. So what you're going to do is get into build mode, which I am right now. You're going to press 2 for your paver and bring out your paver, and you're going to place it just like normal. Then you're going to hit 2 again to deselect your pavers, and you're going to grab to move the industrial wall shelf, and you're going to turn it. I'm going to turn it a little bit to the side, place it down just like normal. Now we are going to do the exact same trick that we did again, just this time this guy is at an angle. Now don't freak out. We're going to go ahead and pick up the wood slab paver, and it's immediately not going to be at an angle anymore, but that's okay because it thinks it still is. We're going to take it up. So this time, let's go all the way up to the top. So we're going to have a totally different angle. Again, I am not going to press anything to place this paver down. The next button I am going to press is going to be whatever number that my plushie is sitting on, which I know is 4. So I just pressed 4 to bring out my plushie. Now I'm going to press T to place it because that is my secondary key. So it's going to be whatever you chose that key to be. I'm going to place it down. Now when I grab my wood slab paver and move it, it's going to put my bee up into the, or my lantern bug up into the air. But she's going to be at an angle. And now she looks like she's flying wistfully through the air, adding extra dimension and cuteness to what we have made on this plot. I mean, aren't they just so cute? So obviously there are endless ways that you can do this. It is a really simple concept, but so many things that you can do. There's actually a really fun tutorial. The tutorial that taught me about how to float things in general was by the amazing Witchy TQ. So definitely a big shout out to Witchy, who has a really great tutorial on how to use a barrel as an anchor and actually float bugs up so that they're crawling on the side of your house. I did it a little bit differently to do my bug here, but Witchy has a really great way to do it on her YouTube page. So definitely check that out. And if you have any questions, please drop them down below. I'm going to leave this plot up for the month of September every week. So if you want to come and check out my plushies in person, you totally can. And thanks for being here. I love you. Bye-bye.